Hi there, it's Miss Brown again. This is part 2 of organic compounds, and in this presentation we'll discuss proteins and nucleic acids. So start in the third column on your chart, and we'll start with proteins and the elements contained there. Just remember CHON, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. And the functions, they make up body structures, form enzymes, and form hormones. I know sometimes you get the idea of, especially those of you who are into exercise, you want to build up and bulk up, you think of proteins are just muscles. Well, they're not just in your muscles. We find proteins in many places, especially a special kind of protein we'll have a presentation on called enzymes. Okay, so categories and examples. You have amino acids, dipeptides, and polypeptides. When you see peptide, you should always think of a protein. One very important hormone you may have heard of is insulin, especially if you know someone who is a diabetic or have someone in your family who's a diabetic. Enzymes, an example of that is amylase that's found in your saliva. It helps digest sugars right off the bat when you put them in your mouth. And lactase, that helps you to digest a milk sugar. And you've all heard of lactase intolerance. People don't have enough of that, and they have to take a supplement to help them out with digesting dairy. And then structures, hair, feathers, your ligaments, hemoglobin found in your blood, muscle fibers, all those things are made of protein. And properties of proteins, they have covalent peptide bond. That means protein. And there's 20 different of these special amino acids that make proteins. And whenever you see ASE, it's a very good bet that that word is going to be some sort of enzyme. And again, keep in mind, you can stop this to get things filled in. All right, the basic monomer unit for a protein is an amino acid. And here's an example of one. This would be a basic monomer unit you would draw. And how do you know this is a protein? Well, the clue here is what's in it. You see C, carbon. You see hydrogen. You see oxygen. And you see nitrogen. There they all are. So that's how you would know that that is one of the 20 building blocks of protein, an amino acid. Okay, let's move on to the last one, nucleic acid. Now, these elements, CHNOPS, it has all of them. And you've heard of eating fats, and you've heard of eating carbs, and you've heard of eating proteins. And you may think, well, why is this a problem? Why have I never heard about this macro, some of you call it macromolecule? Because if you eat, everything you eat was once living. So therefore, it's got nucleic acid. This is DNA and RNA, and all living things have that. So you get that in your diet as long as you're eating something. The functions of this is to control heredity, help to make proteins, and cell energy molecules. Examples, DNA, RNA, and ATP, which is cell energy. We'll learn about that more later when we do photosynthesis. Special properties. DNA is a double helix molecule. RNA has 3 types, mRNA, rRNA, and tRNA. ATP, that's your cell energy. It's formed from AMP and ADP. These are the largest organic molecules. They're very large. They're called macromolecules, macro meaning large. And they have covalent bonds. Now your basic monomer unit here is going to be a nucleotide, which has a sugar, a phosphate, and a nitrogen base. The picture on this presentation is not as good, but you can go ahead and draw this one. I'm going to give you another example a little later. But here's a nucleotide. And you see how it has this 5-sided ring. And it's going to be the clue when you see one of these. It's also attached to a sugar, and I'm going to get you a better picture of that. Okay, so this concludes part 2 of organic molecules.